fellow panelists, members of the Fourth Estate, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to share this platform with the leaders of the various parties and with you who we believe are one of the custodians of truth and dispenser of truth in our society. I stand on all previous protocols in reference to the eminent Wilmont Blyden, of whom this occasion is named after, this forum is named after. I bring you greetings from the Unity Party and resolute opinion about the establishment of the war crimes and economic court. The Unity Party unquestionably supports the establishment of a war and economic crimes court. Let's not forget our period of leadership was the most burdened with reconciliation, recovery, security, and ensuring that Liberia was set on an irreversible path of peace and security. We are proud to have done so and must therefore stand for the continuum of all the elements of reconciliation, peace, and prosperity. All Liberians, regardless of tribe, creed, and politics, must remain proud of that achievement, take ownership of the process, and embrace the establishment of the War and Economic Crimes Court. We sometimes take for granted what many Liberians, many great leaders who pursued peace after our crisis have sacrificed to usher the platform for the democracy and peace that we now enjoy. Unfortunately, perhaps it is this forgetting that still continues to inhibit our true growth and potentials. For us in the Unity Party, reconciliation is about breaking away from a bad or divisive past and ending the culture of violence, repression, disenfranchisement, and impunity. For reconciliation to be genuine, the people, both victims and perpetrators, must understand the truth, collectively decide to move forward, and heal. If you've noticed, I also mentioned the perpetrators, because like we saw during our crisis, our war, it became a vicious cycle where victims also became perpetrators, tribes and religious groups retaliated on others who might have injured them or who were perceived as enemies. In many cases, people participated in the war without any conviction, but merely on perceptions and stories of traditional or historical conflicts and disagreements. Though we don't recognize it, former combatants often are also victims of the system that we've created in our country. Look around us. The people, many of us call Zobos and ex-combatants are our citizens. They too need healing beyond disarmament. Many of our citizens who should be driving our growth, leading and preparing the country for posterity, are still suffering internally and are influenced by their traumas and are still victimized by actions of impunity that we see today in our government. Many of our former combatants, including factional leaders and warlords, suffer from post-traumatic stress disorders, yet we not find them and have positioned them to lead and make critical decisions for us. That process of reintegration or reintegrating them into society is never complete without all of us understanding the cause of the crisis, the issues, and achieving individual and national healing. We must also be prepared to hold those culpable accountable before we begin the true process of forgiveness. There are also very important reasons why we support the War and Economic Crimes Court. It will discourage impunity and serve as a deterrent for Liberia ever receding into war or Liberians using violence to resolve our differences. There are still high levels of corruption in our society. We still see aggressive proclivities within our society and politics. Current leaders must understand that they are accountable and will be held responsible for their actions. They must be prepared to be judged if they continue to rob the country and people of their resources. They must be prepared to be judged if they continue to govern poorly. And they must be prepared to be judged if they continue to dispense justice impartially. In 2009, I visited Rwanda. It was interesting and an eye-opening experience to see what true reconciliation and a unified approach to recovery can do for a people and country, beginning with the dispensing of true justice. You can see in Rwanda today even intermarriages between families of victims and perpetrators. Finally, I must emphatically caution that while the need of a war crime and economic crimes court is absolute, the objectives must not be about targeting individuals or groups of people. It must benefit all. The accused are also Liberians and must have the right and benefit to vindicate themselves. And civil society must be involved to ensure national buy-in and the fairness of the process. We must ensure that all elements of the process are implemented once and for all this time. Without acceptable conclusions, succeeded by real elements of reconciliation and healing, we will not achieve what we aim to achieve by establishing the court. We must not politicize the process. We must not politicize the process. Ultimately, we believe we'll be able to separate our true heroes from those who willfully, purposefully perpetuated crimes and exploited the vulnerability of our people. What's most clear today? There weren't any winners for our civil crisis. There weren't any losers in our civil crisis. However, with a war and economic crimes court, every Liberian will be a winner. The Unity Party will continue to champion the cause. Our representative, Honorable Richard Kuhn, recently stated that he's seeking the revocation of the law exonerating war perpetrators from being prosecuted in Liberia. We will pursue this and every other means to secure a more unified and prosperous Liberia.